Jacob, my friend, thank you for coming, taking time off your busy schedule. Like you're literally about to do this and fly to DC. So I appreciate you taking this time and coming out to chat with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been 2 years or 3 years?
Something like that, yeah. At least 2.
And a lot happens in 2 years.
Exactly. I remember still, it was, again, I feel like this guy's name comes up a lot, David's Meetups.
Yep.
And we were sitting there. That's when we met. And I think it was instantly hit off because I felt like we were trying to do similar things, building a team, helping, clients with better branding, better content, right? How do you remember anything from that meeting? Like, it's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, I watched from afar because you've been really involved with David Moorfield, and one thing that really piqued my interest was how you were taking care of the community. So you bought a box or a booth at a game.
I did.
And you hosted everybody, all the creators, and it was really cool because we're typically the ones who are like serving other people in their booths,
Mhm.
right? Like we do VIP, right? Incentive trips, and we film other people getting
Yeah.
spoiled. But then you did that for the creators here in Orlando, and I was like, wow, like this guy he's got the right outlook. He's got like the right heart. So
Well, thank you. I
yeah.
appreciate it. I've told that story before, but it was such an amazing experience. So, funny enough, I'm about to literally go to the 3rd year of that event where I got that. So I attend, a lot of business events, and I try to be very active in the business community here in Orlando. And it was one of those charity auctions where it's like, and then Solar Bears were a partner. They're like, hey, we'll give you one of these exclusive Kia boxes or whatever. Whoever wins the charity. And at first, I'm like, okay, I don't have 30 friends. Like, and then I was like, hold on, I do. If I call the video people, I do. And then it was immediate. And then, obviously I bid. I didn't know if I was going to win. And how auctions are, you keep bidding and it keeps going higher. And, it was a very expensive thing.
Yeah.
Point is, I won. And then I was like, holy crap. And then as soon as I was like, David, so this is the date because, you can't pick a date.
Smart.
And I was like, David, because I'm not going to throw a meetup. He's the one who does it. So I was like, let's partner. I got the space. Let's bring people in. And it was an incredibly fun night. I don't think anyone cared about the actual hockey that was going on.
Yeah.
But we were all just happy to be there. And then even the funny thing is the staff there was like, how did you get this? Because, I guess they don't book that all the time. And I was like, I have no idea. I just went to an event. They said, you want this? And I put some number down and then, kept coming back and somehow won this. And then I was just happy, like you said. And I'm like, if I can bring 30 people in, it would be stupid of me to be like, okay, here's 3 of my family, right?
Yeah.
And then
right.
that's it, the whole box. No, I'm going to throw a party, and I'm going to throw the party for my tribe, which is the Filmmaker tribe. And so that's awesome. Were you there? Or no, you said you watched from afar.
Yeah,
That's kind of sad. I wish you were there. That would have been fun. So you watched his vlogs, and that's how you found out about us, I guess.
Definitely. So first 1, 2, 3 blogs of his, you popped in relatively quickly, and I never forgot you. And then when we did the Winter Garden meetup, I forget that taco place or whatever, but I made it a point to go and say what's up to you.
Yeah, and it was awesome. Immediately, I was like, "Oh, this guy knows what he's talking about." Plus, you like I said, when talking to people, you could tell. I felt that energy where it was like, "Oh, you're going places," and obviously, you want to connect with other people because you want to go places together, right? And that was great, and I'm so glad you approached me. So tell me, I want to talk. Obviously, we have 2 hours. We can touch everything, hopefully, but I want to talk then. So where were you? First of all, hold on. Before we start anything, you have, I think, the, I don't know, most interesting company names ever. Because, Pooh Bear, I get it. Because every time I see your company, I just want to say Pooh Bear. Because, we're in Orlando, Disney. But it's not Pooh Bear. It's Poor Bear.
Yeah.
Please explain your company name to me.
Yeah. So it's funny because I did a podcast with somebody and he introduced my company as Pooh Bear Stories. And I have this great reel where I was like, yeah, I basically risked the success of my company on being called Pooh Bear Stories for the rest of my life.
Basically.
And it's
you have to make
true.
an effort to see that R.
Yeah.
So why the name, and then what does it mean to you?
Yeah. So the short story is it's basically a nickname. I'm Mexican, raised in a Mexican family, and my nickname growing up was Pobrecito, or poor little boy, poor baby boy. And over my life to this day, my mom still calls me Poor Bear. So her Poor Bear. But I adopted the name because I wanted to, for me, it has an underdog ring to it. And like, I think one of the deep things about my story is that I never really had like a firm father, it was really hard for me in my life to have like this fatherly role. It's something that I just like loved, wished I had. Home Alone is like one of my favorite movies because it's like this quintessential Christmas with a family and presents. But I grew up. My birth father wasn't a part of the picture, and then my who I called dad was killed when I was 15. And so when I started my company, or actually just before, there were a lot of things like legally I was never adopted by my father, and so I didn't get benefits. I wasn't recognized by the federal government by his service and his sacrifice. So I had to kind of like claw my way to success. And I've had to learn everything. It hasn't all been handouts. I've certainly had help, incredible mentors in my life, but I really loved and embraced Poor Bear because I felt like I'm an underdog and like I'm just fighting for my opportunity.
No, that's incredible. Now that you explain it, makes sense that it's not Pooh Bear. It's you. You're the Poor Bear. But how take me back. I mean, I can't imagine being 15, having your dad pass away, and I'm guessing military, right? Army.
Yep.
Okay.
He was a Navy SEAL.
Navy SEAL. Okay. Yeah. So in service, right? I'm guessing that happened. Okay, so that must be traumatic. I mean,
yeah.
Plus, like you said, the thing about your biological father. So now you have a father figure. You lose it at a young age, which to me at 15 I can't imagine because the things we do at 15 are crazy, right? Your brain is, I don't know about you, but I was thinking about everything, right? All the good and the bad.
Sure. Yep.
So last thing you want to do is, get into bad habits or whatever is what I'll keep it at.
Yeah.
Because so how did you manage that? How did you keep yourself sane? And like you said, I like the attitude of you're like, I'm an underdog. But how did you keep that mindset instead of leaning towards, the other side of it?
Yeah. So in some ways I embraced kind of like the good values that my dad taught me, right? Like he raised me on never give up, always try your best, kind of be a good brother to your teammates, help out your family, help out your friends. So like I embraced a lot of those things, but then like this other part of me was like crushed and just destroyed. And so I actually like put the pedal to the metal and went 100 miles per hour into a brick wall. I got a DUI when I was 19 and I almost killed my 3 best friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And my mindset that was 4 years after my dad was killed. And my mindset for like literally from 16, 17, 18, 19 was like, if God can take my dad, then I dare him to take me too. Like my dad was only 36 years old and it wasn't fair. So, I was like, I had like this, it's an unfair mindset. And
so when did that change happen? Was it that DUI or that incident?
Yeah. So, I mean, it teenagers can be pretty dumb. I definitely was. And I feel like it took a while to really sink in, but the incident, getting arrested and almost killing my 3 best friends, it was just like a brick wall, and it forced me to really gain perspective. Like I was in college, I was on a scholarship. Do I want to honor the scholarship for the opportunity that it is, or am I going to throw this away? And so for me, I was like, okay, it's time to make good decisions again. And I still partied, I was still crazy. I didn't do incredibly stupid stuff, or the biggest thing is I totally didn't put others in harm's way. That was very selfish of me, right? To put others in harm's way. But I mean, that was the big 180 there. And then I would say after graduating college was really my opportunity for redemption. I started to do like a lot of giving back and paying forward, fundraising for nonprofits, mentoring other kids like me who lost their parent in the line of duty or as a result of their service. And so I was kind of hungry. I was actually starving to be a benefit to society. And so I literally spent 10 years doing that. And then I started video production.
That's so crazy. But at least that's a good thing. I like, obviously, it's unfortunate that it was that incident that you had to get to change things around. But I do like that you were able to find this path where, all this energy, all this, passion you're using to bring about a better change. So I want to now go back to where we were, which is when we met. Where was Poor Bear Stories, or what stage were you in? I think you had some teammates, right? And tell me about where you were at that point in terms of video production.
Yeah. So if this is like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, then I'd say the biggest thing is I had the vision. I've always had the vision of like, okay, I want to build a video production company. And I know that I shouldn't be looking small. And I know that I should be building relationships now. And I think that's like the key thing. So I've always had the vision and the approach of that. But as far as like where we were and what we were doing.
How many years were you into at that point into the company?
So we started.
Or was it new?
Yeah, we started in 2020 in COVID.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, no.
I think we talked about that too the first time.
It's like so interesting to start. Yeah, and I was just a few years before that. My company, I was doing freelance for a long time, but my company started like September 2018. So I was just a couple of years into when that whole.
But you were prepped for live.
Thank goodness. COVID I know hit. That saved me. Otherwise, who knows where I would be. And like I said, that's just a crazy story that happened. But so you had started in pandemic, which is also a crazy decision.
Yeah.
What was it like? Did you lose a job or something like most people, or just there wasn't work? What caused you to immediately go, let me start a company?
Yeah. So I was working for Your Brand Voice here in Orlando in Dr. Phillips. It's a digital ad agency, kind of boutique. And I was, I had been there 2.5 years, maybe a little bit over. I had edited, I had produced, pre-produced, post-produced over like 500 videos for this ad agency. So I felt incredibly competent and confident in my craft. Like I was making creative decisions for myself. Like I didn't need anybody's validation.
So you got your skill, which is important down the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to have confidence in delivering something, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, obviously business skills are important, which is what we're going to talk mostly about. But if your craft isn't there, and, then it doesn't matter how good your business skills are, they're never going to call you back. And that's why I tell people, your skills have to be there, which helps. Obviously, they don't have to be there but then you need to hire people whose skills are there. You cannot not have skills and then be just trying to do it yourself for paid clients, because you're going to just fail no matter what. Yeah. So that's great. So you have an advantage because you gained all these skills. You made over 500 videos, which is a lot of videos. And at what point do you go, like, did you quit, or did they lay off, or what happened?
Yeah. So in the middle of the pandemic, the uncertainty is crazy. He comes out, my boss comes out, and he's like, I don't know if I'm going to have to let you guys off or what. And I was like, hold on, pump the brakes. I was like, what if I can figure out a product? Because I think one client was like, hey, we're going to back up now. Hey, we're going to let you guys go. And so I was like, it was like immediate. I was like, let's do public service announcements for our clients. So let's literally just, if you're a restaurant or if you're a dentist or if you're, real estate agency, basically once a month we'll come to you and we'll do your PSA. So all of 85% of our portfolio bought the idea and kept us on all the retainers.
Look at that. So single-handedly saving the company.
Yeah. So we all stayed on. And then funny, we were just talking about buying our houses. So it's like May, June, and we're thinking, me and my wife is like, I want a house. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're in a pandemic. What? Like, are you
Yeah,
crazy?
which is good timing though. If you did buy and did
Yes.
buying it, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my wife has like really strong faith. And so I was like, okay, we'll do it. Like, we'll do it. And so we looked and we ended up buying in October of 2020.
Oh my goodness, you
Yeah.
lucky bastard.
I know. Yes.
Oh man, I still remember because I was in Alabama that time, and I was looking to come back because I was an idiot, left for a few years, and I'm telling you, I was just like, oh, this price is a great. I'm gonna move, and I'm gonna move, and literally 6 months later, when I did end up moving, the market was like this, and I was like, crap, I'm
it
screwed.
happened so quick.
So no,
Nobody
that's
could
good
know.
though. I mean, no,
Yeah.
like you said, you had faith though. I do like that. You both came together. You had faith. You made a good decision. At that time, may not have known, but in hindsight, that's an amazing decision to buy in Central Florida a property. Then, it's crazy.
No, we're super blessed. And so we were looking at the housing market. We ended up buying, and I told my wife, the truth is I had been asking for equity in my boss's company.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that I was handling the clients, the relationships, I could execute the deliverables, right? Like by myself.
So was it you or you had other people with you doing video side of it?
Yeah. So I would typically convince him to have anywhere from like 2 to 3 videographers on staff. And then he had an entire other like marketing management, ad buying team, and then a web design team as well. So I was like, half or 1/3 of the video production side.
Okay.
But I had been asking for equity because I knew that I was at the point where I couldn't just do everything, or I could do everything that we offered, but I could also start offering this to more people, including my network. And I didn't want to, bring my network to the fold without equity. And so, and I think that's just like, I don't know, that's like an entrepreneurial thing. And so he kind of pushed it off for a year. And then I asked again on like, I got a raise and I asked for equity again. And it wasn't cement the idea. I mean, in hindsight, I could have probably came up with an idea, presented it to him, and I didn't. But I felt like I started to kind of get squeezed for my labor rate. And at the time, it's about a month, 2 after buying the house. So my credit was good. Like it's clear, right?
Yeah.
And like I could quit my job and not lose the house.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Plus,
a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, and generally your credit technically shoots up to having a real estate property show up on there. But either way, yes, you can quit your job because now you have the house, right? Yeah.
Right.
As long as you can pay for it, obviously.
Yep. And so I had the house, and I told my wife, I said, hey, my goal is to save up 3 months of like our expenses and mortgage. And then I'm going to, like, anything after that is icing. And so I had surpassed the 3 month savings. And then like one day he just like kind of said something I didn't like. And I was like, hey, I'm putting in my notice. And that was it,
That was it. And then you started, did you bring any of the staff with them, or so was it you? Did you immediately then go Poor Bear Stories, or did you talk to someone, or what was that process?
So great question, because I've left a couple of things out, but I had already founded Poor Bear Stories because I was being paid as a contractor and I wasn't claiming any write-offs. And I knew that I could be I just knew filing taxes after 2 years of filing my own taxes, right? Like that's another thing. Like if you file your own taxes, you kind of learn things and you see like, oh, wait, like that's a write-off. Oh, I could like lower my taxable income. So I started to learn that, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start my LLC, and then I'm going to claim more. I'm going to start my business bank account, and I'm going to claim more write-offs. And so I had done that months before leaving, and then after 2-3 months, so after about 2 months of having my own company, I was volunteering at a church here in Orlando called LifeBridge. And this is, again, in the pandemic. And so they're trying to figure out live production or meeting safely. And so they were like, okay, we're going to they were really unique in that they had a drive-in church. So they had a big LED screen, and then they filled their grass lot. But the first week they did it, nobody found out. And so I was like, well, let's do videos to show what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll make a little highlight video, and then we can blast it out and show people what it looks like. And they can. So anyways, I did behind the scenes videos during COVID for my church, and it really helped them. But in doing that, their production team, who are like all freelancers,
Mm-hmm.
had other jobs they were doing, and they actually brought me onto a Gary Sinise Foundation project as a freelancer. And so
At that time, are you just charging like a day rate?
pretty much
Yeah.
hourly.
Oh,
Like I was
hourly,
like, I was like getting paid like $25 an hour to work for the ad agency. And then I was like, they were like, okay, Jake, what's your freelancer rate? And I was like, well, I don't know. Like I get paid 25 an hour right now. And they were like, well, what if we do 35 an hour? And I was like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which is why business skills are so important. Which is why we're having this conversation, because you're gonna learn
yes.
slowly when you learn that was not a good idea. But
No,
that's okay. You
no.
didn't know. Like, look, in the beginning, I've done that too. When I was freelance, it was like, hey, whatever, I'll take it, because
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know.
No.
So at least you got a project. That's also key. A lot of people who are new to this don't even know where to go find that first project, even
Yeah.
at 35 an hour. So this, the positive side of it.
Yeah. And, I learned something. I think another key lesson during that time was, and this is like quintessential freelance contractor, right? So you have like a day rate, right?
Mhm.
So like, let's say your day rate is $1,500 and everybody goes, whoa, that's crazy. You make $1,500 a day, right? But what I learned on that 35 an hour job, right, was my billable hours were like horrible.
Mhm.
They were just horrible because in the freelance world, it's like, okay, we only need you for 4 hours today. Okay, we only need you for 6 hours, right?
Mhm.
Hey, we have a pre-production call with the team. We need to talk about this. And so I was like on the phone and on video calls for 10, 15 hours a month during COVID, not getting paid for any of it, and then getting $350 days. It does not add up.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
And living in Central Florida, that's very hard.
Yeah.
Even pre-pandemic house rates, it's still very hard to survive.
Yeah.
So when did you learn to charge the correct rates? Did it happen, obviously just general, or did somebody tell you what the rates should be? How'd you find that out?
Yeah, so I've had 3 big level ups in my business pricing. And each time it's like with totally different deliverables and like demands for a project. And honestly, most of my production company has evolved organically, just like out of necessity. It's like we have a project that comes to us and I take my best guess at like a quote, and then I learn the hard way that we didn't bill for this or this or this. And so next time I can more accurately bill for that. But in the meantime, I improve my portfolio, right? So,
Yeah.
and it's been 3 or 4 years of that. It's like, okay, we get this unique project with unique demands. Here's our estimation. Okay, we learn lessons. Okay, we bill more for it next time around.
Yeah.
But a lot of it has been custom, and so it's harder when you're doing these custom projects.
Yeah, because then you have to figure out all your expenses, all your rates, your profit, obviously, of the company, each person's rates. So when I met you, which is 2.5 years ago, as a company, what was the revenue you guys were pulling? Roughly, you don't have to give exact numbers if you remember.
Yeah. So I'd say 3 years ago, we were about 125 revenue.
And then today, or 2024, let's not talk today. Last year, roughly, what did you close the revenue top line?
I think we finished at about 300, but
That's pretty good. That's
the
pretty huge
crazy
jump, yeah.
part, though, the crazy part is we had 6 months of no jobs.
Oh, last year, 2024?
2024,
Wow, that's
yeah.
crazy. So
6
what
months.
happened? I mean, for 6 months, 300K
Yeah.
is pretty good. That's actually even really good.
Yeah.
So is it just because I know and maybe this we tackle later otherwise, because don't you do more military style jobs, right? Maybe it's because of that. Is it the market that you're serving? Is it? That or
So yeah, actually, but it wasn't like intentional at
hmm
all. It was actually we were kind of reactive. So we niched down this year. So going into 2025, we basically came out and said we are exclusively like Department of Defense
hmm
and Intelligence,
hmm
which is like, all the infrastructure, cybersecurity, right?
that's
All
where
that.
the money's at.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
smart niche. Yes,
we're smart.
yeah. The government always writes their checks. That's one thing I've
Yeah.
learned. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, by the way, I never do net anything. I don't care. I don't care
Yeah.
who you are.
Yeah.
It could be Disney, big Hollywood studio. Pay me up front,
Mm.
except for the government. I know that check will always come. So you are very smart in niching down there. So go ahead. Yes.
Yeah.
So is that what would you attribute to not having 6 months or roughly 6 months of no work?
So I mean, for me, I would say it's God because it gave me clarity. Like the clients we were losing, just kind of like in weird ways. Like one of our biggest clients for the first 2 years of my company start, they let us go, kind of really soft and slow. Just like, hey, we're not going to do this year. Hey, we're not going to do video production for
Did they
this.
switch to a different company, or
No.
they just not do
They
video?
didn't
Okay.
do video. $1 billion company or $500 million company going to $1 billion this year has all the room in the world for
Yeah.
video production. But they had a business development guy come in and basically say, if it's not sales, we're not paying for it.
And that's a bad strategy. But that's what a business guy would do.
Yeah.
Because they can show immediate return.
Yeah.
But that's not good long-term strategy. We both know
No
that.
branding.
But let's not go there. So point is, so you have had decent scale, in my opinion, in 2.5 years to triple almost, right? Almost 2.5x your business. What do you attribute that to? Like just being better your craft or better your business scale level, or what?
Well, there's one other thing too. So like that 6 months, I didn't just like sit on my couch and play games, right? Like I took all that time to go after way bigger business and like build client relationships and like go to networking events, travel around the country and like meet people and spend time like doing a lot of the stuff that video production owners do that you never see, right?
Yeah.
So like I didn't just sit at home not working. I was like doing a lot of business development stuff myself. So I think that's key to say. But I would say what's attributed to the growth is niching down. So like niching down and showing your work. There's a little book that I only remember the title, but it's Show Your Work, and that's the book, right? And so we typically, we have these companies come to us, we work with that company, we do a great video, do great photos, whatever, and then we share it, we show it. And what I find is that our network, my network, right, and the word of mouth within my niche, they see us and follow us and look at us from afar for sometimes a year to 2 years before calling us or referring us. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not seeing anything. Why do I do social media? Like when I post this, somebody doesn't call me and say, hey, I want to book your services, right? It's like you post 8 times a month, 12 months a year. And then next year in February, somebody will say, hey, I've been following you guys for a year. I love what you're doing. And my company's in a spot to do video. And so we want to do something like one time I saw this video that you did with so-and-so. And so I would say that I would attribute a lot of our success to that, niching down and finding our audience, the people that we want to serve, that we know a lot about. And there's a lot of familiarity in that community with our work. Or it's easier to get household, right? Like, oh, I don't know you, but I know this company you've worked for. And I know some people on that team who I could call them and I trust them and I can ask them about you. That's the power of the niche. And so
that is very smart. I tell people, and I haven't, and I'm one of the lucky. I don't believe in luck, but to be real, I am lucky. to have a decently successful company without niching down, because everyone I know who's successful in video has picked a niche, because otherwise it's very hard to market. Because if you're just like saying, so that's smart of you to do that, because otherwise it's like, I'm a video company, it's like a billion of you. How does people know to work with you? And like you said, if you niche down, it becomes very easy for them to find you. And when they find you, they start to follow you. And when they follow you, when the time is right, they know they're going to reach out,
Yeah.
because you're presenting yourself as an expert and not as a generalist, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that is the right move to do. And I'm so glad, you're doing that and you figured it out. What's the structure of your company? Is it just you as the owner and with contractors, or do you have like business partners who have equity or whatever?
So 2024 was definitely like a trial. We had 2 full-time staff leaving 23, and 2 kind of part-time, full-time contractors on the team. And then we contracted out another 2 video operators, videographers, and video editors. So the same 2.
Okay.
Everybody on my team, I prefer to have they're a photo or a video operator, and they can edit, right?
Okay.
Like that's for my company and for our client size and everything. That's just like, we can't really afford to you're just my DOP, like,
Yeah.
we're too small. So
basically they're a shooter or a shredder, I think is the word. Shooter, editor.
yeah,
Shredder. Whatever. There's another thing in there, but whatever. The shooter, photographer, editor, right? Everything. Which is what most likely your deliverables look like, right? So an average, what's your project size and what deliverables are there roughly? Again, you have to go specific, but
yeah. So we have typically between 5 to 8 really big projects a year, where they're like $25,000 to $50,000 jobs, sometimes $100,000 jobs.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. Where we need a crew of like 5 to 10 people for 7-8 days, and it's very bespoke. Like, there's a ton of research in the company, ton of pre-production, and then the post-production in this space is typically very bespoke, because most people are like, I want as little amount of revisions as possible. But in the defense space, in the intelligence space, I've had video projects wait to go through public affairs for 2 years. We've had videos that haven't seen the light of day for 2 years because it has to get scrubbed by 12, 15 different public affairs officers. It's insane. And it can be frustrating for people too. And a lot of people are like, I can't run a business like that. But so those are kind of some of the bigger projects that we have. And then we do all the way down to, like, I'm doing a DP job this week for like $1,500. Like, I'm just going in and kind of capturing 10 hours.
I mean, that's pretty good DP rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically everything from you individual as a DP to very big jobs where you bring in obviously a crew, and get to whatever the deliverable is. Like you said, custom basically video jobs. And is it like 25K on average for what are like how many deliverables are there? Is it one big deliverable, or is it like multiple deliverables that are part of a package? Like, hey, for 25, 50K, we'll give you 5 videos or whatever. Is that, like what does an average number of deliverables look like in that range?
So I would say, so we have 2 retainers. We've kind of fluctuated between 3 to 5 on average. Right now we're at 2, so we're a little bit slow, but
I mean, that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
That was you're not worried about where the bills are coming from.
I mean, because when you have a payroll, when your money walks out the door really, really fast. And so that was kind of a big lesson for 2024 for me. Was I had like 4 people on staff at one point, and it was like $12,000 walking out the door every single month.
And if you don't have 6 months of work, then
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can, like I said, you can go work in business, growth and all that.
Yeah.
Because I know you're not the type to sit, but the staff usually is not the type to do that. So
No.
so you had to let people go then, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So they were just contractors, or they were full times W9 or whatever.
So fortunately, thank God,
W2. Sorry.
Yeah, I've been able to keep on my W2s, who are also Gold Stars. So they also both lost their dads in military service, and we hired through organizations that we've worked with that I've spoke, for raised money for decades, right? And so strong relationships. Even hired some of their recipients, and so I've been able to keep on my W2s. We had a contractor for a year who was on a visa from Bolivia, and her visa expired. So, but she did incredible. And then we had another part-time contractor in the first half of the year who joined the military, and so she ended up leaving as well.
So at least you didn't have to have the hard conversation of like, we have to let you go. That's a tough conversation to have, right?
Yeah, and so and I'm more comfortable at 2. Like when I was at 4, I felt kind of out of control.
Because you can always bring in contractors, right?
Yeah.
As needed. That way you're not committed to like payroll. Because as somebody who has done that, that can be a nightmare, because you're like, oh, I need to have this much cash flow coming in no matter what. Yeah. And it starts to, our business is like up and down. Yeah. Sometimes you're like, I need more, more clients, or else, and you don't want to miss payroll. Obviously, that's just terrible. Which is why, at least for me, I found my stride is post-production staff, payroll, all shooters, contractors. Makes life so much easier. I can custom it for each job and never worry about, like, because, for me, like you said, shooters, otherwise they're just sitting doing nothing. So I'd rather just bring in contractors, pay them what they want to get paid. Plus, you get higher level talent because they're shooting all the time. And then post production, at least for me, the way I try to, again, I don't know if this will work with DoD, but at least with my clients, it's like we can go back and be like, hey, because we own all the footage, they own the deliverables. So it's like, hey, we can repurpose this to get more, social edits, or we can do this to make an update or whatever, right? You can repurpose the content. I can always have the editors working, but I can't have the shooters working. Yeah. At least that's the final strategy I've landed on that seems to be working for me, which is like contracted shooters based on the job. So they fit the job better too. And then, but post-production staff, it makes it a little easy to every month to go, because like, hey, if I don't have work, then I don't have shooters, like extra payroll that I'd have to worry about. At least that's where I figured finally have settled so far as of now, 2025.
And it's all going to change because you just got a grip truck.
Yeah, I know. Who knows? And see, funny enough, the idea of that was same thing. I want to be more efficient. So my costs ballooned out of nothing. And so I was like, I have all this gear because, I like to do high level production, but not all out of there. Just to be real, just like you, I'll go for 1,500, be the DP and go shoot something. That's okay. It doesn't have to be always fancy. And you never know, the $1,500 maybe shit fancy. I'm just part of the cog in a big shoot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, but mainly I'm trying to do my own productions, and over the years, I'm trying to level them up. So I've acquired enough gear, and I was like, okay, so now I don't have a shoot. And maybe I have a couple of shoots a week, and a lot of them even are flying, so I don't even bring my gear. So I'm like, all this gear is sitting, not getting used.
Yeah.
How can I get more ROI out of it? And plus, for years, I sold my trailer. We talked about that, and I was like, I have to find a way better, efficient use of it. So anyway, that's what ended up happening. Bought the van, and now it's everything in there. It makes it easier for me now to take it on gigs, but also, get more ROI out of it, because the days it's not being used, it can be on other people's production. It could be put on your production or any other production that's coming from LA or
it's
Atlanta or whatever.
It's a beautiful van, by the way. It's gorgeous.
All right. Let's not peddle things. We don't do that. I don't want people to think we're promoting things here. We're just giving free knowledge. But yes, I mean, that was the goal, right? To be more effective. And hopefully I'll get more ROI out of it.
And and again, we're not peddling here, but the offering is so much more like just the value. Like it's always been obvious that you are like, let me give more value. And I think that's a fault to us in the creator community, because we love what we do so much that we're dropping our rates. which is retiring a lot of the old creators and producers and grip guys because we're cutting down our rates. But hey, man, like it's amazing to see you really trying to give so much more value with camera, with grip, with lighting, to the creators out there. Like you're in that way, you're very selfless with how much value you're trying to pump into the community.
Exactly. No, and I completely agree with you. And this is why I'm so glad you bring this point. The point is not to devalue the community, because at the same time, like you said, if I'm like, hey client, here you go for $50, we'll bring the whole world to you.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it devalues the business. So my goal with this was absolutely that, hey, for my clients, and for your most of the clients, they don't care the equipment we bring. We bring the equipment based on the level of the job that it needs, right? To do the job right. So I'm like, I'm gonna bring it anyway, and I'm already charging a healthy margin in there for that. But here's how I can help level up the community. Like, I'm like, hey, buddy of mine on this group chat that I think you're a member of, right? The Orlando Filmmaker group chat. I'm like, look, I have this van. I'm purposefully not putting branding on it. Now since I'm sitting here, look, it's a give and take relationship. It's not fully like altruistic. I don't want to be like something. I am going to make ROI, but I'm like, look, my rate is very low for the level of skill I bring. So, and most of them hire me anyway. So I'm like, you're hiring me already at this rate. Let me give you a bonus.
Right.
I'll bring this whole van. You save thousands of dollars on rental costs. And now you can go to your client and say, look, we got this. We can level up. Let me charge you more. And if my friends can make more money from it, then all for them. And at the same time, if I can be on more productions, I'll be happy because I like to be on set.
Yeah.
And they make more money, then both of us are winning. Plus, my company now can pull in that extra revenue because it's like, hey, these days what Whipple was doing was nothing, or maybe like, we shouldn't say nothing. I'd be probably working on some form of the business, but those are still days I'd rather be out shooting than doing whatever else I was going to be doing. So I win. My company wins from revenue. I win from being on more sets, and all my friends, creator friends in the local community, win by being able to offer. Now, look, we got this package. If it helps them in any way, and plus, there's no cost to it because if you're not using it, the days for them, there's no cost. So that was my perspective on it, and let's see, obviously, how it goes this year. Because I'm not charging any extra. I'm like, look, obviously, if a production comes and they want the truck, it has its own rate. That's not my rate, and then you have to pay my rate and the crew rates or whatever. But this is just for our community. I'm like, hey, look, I'll just bring the truck with me or my van with me. So you win, you go advertise to the client that it's your stuff.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right.
Because at the end, the client gets better videos. You make more money and I make more money. We all win. That's what I'm saying. The whole point is we all win together.
Yeah.
So anyway, at least that's the business that's in my brain. I don't know if it's going to work. In 12 months, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to sit for season 2 and kind of remiss if it was a good decision or not. I know for a fact that just with my productions, I'll be able to, get enough use out of it. It's just ideally, I don't want that to be the only use because, if it sits for 80, 90% of the year, I don't know. It doesn't just seem right to me.
Yeah.
So, but at least there will be no loss for it. Like I'll make my money back because I'm literally taking it out in a few days. So you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. It's already working.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it's helping. If it's helping you get more jobs, right? Like the curb appeal is helping you get more jobs, and it's paying you back in ROI in one way or another. That's how I've looked at a lot of my assets and growth. But I think just it's hard as company owners with like a ton of grip and a ton of lighting and different cameras and camera packages. It's really hard to walk the line. And I feel like this year has humbled me to say, hey, look, you can't itemize everything, right? You should be so grateful that you are working in this industry. And so when your client calls you for a job, it shouldn't be, okay, the FX6 line item, 350, whatever. It shouldn't be like that. It should be like, wow, okay, what's your budget? Okay, man, you know what? We can do this. I can bring in an operator and you know what, I'm just going to bring in these lights because I think they're going to make a big difference for your shoot. And so like, don't worry about the extra cost in the budget. And then that gives you so much more leverage because they're like, whoa, I couldn't afford that. This was my budget, but you brought it anyways. And then you're building a relationship.
Yeah.
And so, changing your mindset to be like more, how can I give ultra value to my clients?
But also gauging them. You bring a very good point. You want to help your clients, but at the same time, it is a business, right? Because you got to be able to make profit. So being able to gauge where the budget is and where there's a production land. Because I have this happen where clients go and they're like, oh, we want this. And then I'm like, what's your budget? And they're like, we don't have a budget. Tell us. So I'm like, well, I can do it for, 200,000. And then immediately, well, that's not a budget. So you have a budget. Let's get to the number, right? Because here's the thing: I can bring half my friends. We can do awesome job here, but that's not what you need.
Yeah,
I will tell you. I can help you figure out, but I know you have a number, and we can get there. But don't say like, give me a number, because that could mean anything, right? Like you said, you can happily go take $1,500, take a camera, go shoot it, give them the footage, and be done, right? That's $1,500.
That's what's so crazy about our industry is you can pay somebody $750 to go do an incredible day of work, and then it's like, oh, but we want this, and we kind of want like this, and this is the vibe we want, and that can easily be a $25,000 day.
Exactly,
and
same
it's just
job,
crazy.
And then people go, I've had people, and that's a very good thing you bring up, because a lot of people in the video, forget clients, obviously they don't get it, they're businesses, but so many people in the video industry who are playing at this level don't get it. Like I've had people go, hey, I've been able to charge, like my rate is like not my rate, but their rate is, they say, I have picked a day rate, it's $1,200. Now clients are happily paying me. During my camera package, I charge $1,200. I'm happy, they're happy. I don't understand, like they're like, they don't understand how you could even charge $25,000 for the same type of shoot.
Right.
And I'm like, because you have to understand the change that's happening, because it's not, obviously if you brought 2 camera operators and charge them $25,000, you wouldn't stay in business for long, right? For $25,000, you're bringing more gear, you're bringing more lighting, more people. Maybe they want same day edit. I don't know what the project is, but what I'm saying is that 25,000 number is not arbitrary, right? It's all accounted for specific things, and that's how you get to that number. If you don't understand it, meaning you're not thinking from the production company's point of view and that brand's point of view. Because I'm not saying they're doing a bad work. Like you say, you can find incredible people for $600-700 to make you good video. But when you get that high level, everything matters, and it matters with that brand's level. Like, yes, Disney can afford a $1,200 camera operator, but so can they afford a $50,000 camera operator, and they can afford Steven Spielberg if they wanted to.
Yes.
And they're all going to be different costs. It's not like they're doing different things, but they are doing different things, Well, anyway, how would you explain?
So I have a story. So great example. I've been consulting a new nonprofit for the last year, and they have an incredible mission and impact, right? So there's these old guys, they're dying off now. I don't want that to sound insensitive, but they are these legendary sort of special operators who accomplished this kind of like this manual that's still used in the military today. It's called MACV-SOG, but these guys are like some of the most capable killers in the last 100 years for this country. And this organization had an opportunity to invite and interview like a lot of the last living ones. And so incredible, like, opportunity. And you immediately are like, man, what do we need to do to make sure this is told right?
Yeah.
Right?
Because you're not going to get another chance.
Yeah. So they had a ultra limited budget, but I knew the severity of like this problem that they had, that if you're going to be inviting these guys who are like dying, and this is like the last opportunity to tell these stories, you don't want to mess it up. And this is a great point in the whole arbitrary number of video production. So they could only pay for one of my DPs to go up. And he's like my most competent DP, right? but everybody has a limit.
Mhm.
And so we had them drive up with, because they wanted to run 2 sets. And I like highly encouraged them not to run 2 sets. I was like, you have one guy who knows what he's doing on set. You have another guy who's a hobbyist, right? Who says that he can kind of monitor a set. And then you have nobody else who has any grip, experience or anything. And yet you want to light 2 sets. And I was like, don't do it. They did it anyway. So my buddy gets up there and he's like, we're doing it. And I'm like, all right, dude, just give it your best shot. But like, tell him right now, you're not liable if any like cards get corrupted, if any media is lost. If
So
any
they were
cameras
using
turn
your
off.
equipment to make 2 sets? Huh.
2 sets, yeah. So I sent up enough equipment for 2 sets simultaneously with 2 interviewers. And so he drove up all this stuff. He ended up setting up both sets and breaking down both sets by himself, like longest day ever for one guy. 2 days of recording. But it's a miracle that it's an absolute miracle that nothing went wrong, because batteries could have died, microphones could have went out. You don't have like an audio engineer listening, monitoring sound levels. Lights could have blown a light. Like, just there are like 1,000 things that can go wrong on a video production set that have gone wrong on my sets. And to have like one person like playing all these jobs is actually a massive liability to losing your entire investment and your reputation.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, yeah, that was maybe like a $3,000 job or something all in, but it's like, it could cost you 20,
easily. Doing it right. I do that. I did multiple interviews in 2024, which is what I'm saying. The contrast of it. I had multiple days where it was just me, $1,500 set, multi-camera, and just interview. And obviously we still kill it at them.
Yep.
But then I had like multiple 50,000 days. Same thing, literally talking head.
Yeah.
And funny enough, you get paid more because we have setup days where all we do is set up. That's the difference, right? Versus on the cheaper job, you come in, you have to set up, you have to record, you have to film, you have to check sound, and you go. Now on the higher end set, we have a setup day, and then on the actual interview, we have people, sound person, right, camera person. The cameras are better, and whoever says cameras don't matter, they totally matter. Now, obviously, they don't matter in that low level, but they do matter at the high level. The skin tone, we had Alexa Mini LFs. Oh my goodness, with Cook lenses. It looked so beautiful, so creamy.
Oh.
Anyway, point is, and then, the people look good. And then and I had multiples of those. I even held a buddy do one of those. Anyway, and then, you put a big source, you put like an 8x8. The people look good. People with glasses don't have reflections. The point I'm trying to make is, same thing. The difference is when you look at this footage, the first footage, incredible. $1,500, incredible talking heads. I can show a bunch of examples of those, and they look good. But then you look at those, and they look like, oh, they can be on Netflix, they can be on Disney or wherever. Like there's a level difference, but that's why it costs more. And it wasn't just me. I can't take credit for it because it's a whole team of people that it takes, and a whole load of equipment and time. And like you said, liability. You need people there, because if you break one of those lenses, that's $40,000, and they're always rented. Most people don't own them, and it's silly to own them because we're changing lenses all the time on those type of jobs. But can you imagine breaking a $50,000 lens and a $50,000 camera, and we had 2 of each? So it's like you could easily break, a couple $100,000 if you just tip over slightly on a Dana dolly. It's pointless. You bring competent operators because you don't want just anyone handling that level of equipment, because it's a liability as a production company owner. Because if anything's broken, it's on me, not on the people that I bring. So I have to make sure that I bring the right people. But at the end, technical interviews, but vastly different time and setup requirements. And that's why you build them differently too. Yeah. You don't build them the same because you don't put in the same, I don't know.
Well, for instance, I mean, for me, I've always called it redundancy. So, a DIT, having a DIT on set. Well, what's the difference? Who's this guy that I don't even know what they do, or this guy or girl that like, what's a DIT, right? It's like, It's like
Very valuable position. Here's the story I want to talk about DIT. The same shoot. Funny enough, I'm talking about my buddy. Very good guy. I would love to have him on a shoot. He asked me to come help him a shoot. I think it was Philadelphia. I'm going to say Philly. Sorry, it's been 6-8 months. So I would say Philly. So yeah, I flew there. Very high-end interview. Same thing, Cook lenses. I think we had minis, not Milli LF, but still, Ari. Very nice. So he spared no expense. It was a very good shoot.
Yeah.
And I was helping him with lighting and audio. He had his own DP, so I wasn't DPing that. But some point between them, so like I said, I take no responsibility. Lighting and sound was me, DP, but they didn't have a DIT. It's so funny. We had like all expenses paid, not meaning like not like very high end, I would say, interview setup. That's all we did because they had a different agency doing the actual event. But funny enough, between the first DP and his, I guess, second cam op or whatever, some kind of disconnect happened. I don't care whose blame it is. Sure. But at some point, one interview is lost and there's no way to ever get it back. Because the card, because the director was having to dump the cards because we didn't have DIT, my buddy. So at some point, a card was given to him that was like, oh, it's been dumped. Okay.
Yeah.
Here it goes back. All right, clear the card. And, Alexa's, you have to format every time, every interview. You can't just keep doing it like these small mirrorless cameras. No. Point is, at some point, a card was deleted, and now it's too late because we only get one chance with these people, right? The people that we're interviewing, them telling their emotional story, they're crying. Like, you can't just repeat that. Point is, an interview's fully lost and will never be recovered because somebody mistakenly thought the card had been dumped and cleared it. And a DIT would have been a lifesaver. And I was like, oh my goodness, why is there not a DIT?
Weren't they worth $750 a day?
Yeah,
then,
exactly.
Brother? Yeah.
Maybe we didn't have that budget. I don't know. Obviously, I would love to have my buddy here and talk through the situation because he knows the budget, right? I don't. But either way, I saw firsthand. I was like, holy crap. Now, the only thing I learned here was always to have a DIT. So very important to have a DIT on those type of sets.
And that's how you build trust with your prospective clients and your community. You build trust by doing and delivering jobs consistently. And, sometimes your clients see things go wrong, but like, if you're like, oh, I built in redundancy for that, and here's what we did, and here's how we pivoted, right? And everything's good to go. They're going to be like, oh, okay. Like, glad I hired you guys. So yeah, redundancy is everything,
and that's why you can charge more because you can be like, look, I'm the reliable guy. Yeah.
You have to.
Because it costs
charge
more. Yeah.
Well, like, that's the reason in the beginning we went from one camera to two cameras. That's the reason we went from one CF Express Type A to two CF Express Type A's, right? And those are $400 cards or $800 cards, right? And then you have your bodies like $5,000 to $10,000, and then you have your operators who need a monitor. Then you have your sound, and do you have two? Do you have a lav and do you have a shotgun? And who's monitoring both of those? And because when you start saying, hey, you can do both those jobs, right, to your video operator, it's like, but then
cut in half their attention span. Yes. And it's not the operator. A lot of people think, oh, not a good. No, operator is good. You just divide their attention in half, and you don't want to do that. And anytime you have budget, you can have a dedicated sound guy and a camera guy. They're going to do a better job than, not saying, I mean, nowadays we're expected to do both sound and camera a lot of times.
Yes.
Can a camera operator do that? Absolutely. But they have half their attention here, half their attention here. Clearly doesn't mean that they can get it perfect, because reality, So but no, the costs add up. You're saying it exactly how I think. Sometimes I'm so glad, we talk because it's like you're thinking exactly what I'm thinking because, all these costs add up, and that's why you're the right choice because you're accounting for all that. And that's what I want people to know. It's very easy to charge more because as long as you take care of the client, you figure out all the problems that could go wrong and are ready to solve them on set because they will go wrong. Quite literally, like 2 days ago, like I said, I was on set where we did the audio. Day 1 went great. Day 2, the audio doesn't work in the morning.
It's crazy.
And the thing is happening. There's nothing we can do because it's not like it's an event, so it's not
live production.
Live? So
live
so it's like, oh, gotta scramble to figure it out, which we did, thank goodness. And then guess what? Day 3 happened again, and I'm like, come on, this AV people that were giving us sound. Remember, we're not responsible for sound. responsible for bringing it in. But anyway, yeah. So
Yeah.
so what I'm like, so I'm glad I'm here because I can solve this problem. But I'm running like a chicken
Yeah.
every morning for the first 15 minutes trying to
Yeah.
figure out what happened now. It should be the same signal.
Yeah.
Why? What are they doing in their back end to fix it? And then somehow last day 3, we ended up with 2 XLR cables from their team, and I'm like, which one is it? And nobody knows. So it's like we're live, like this event, like I can't not record it anyway. So yeah, so that's why we're paid. I'm like, yes, could they have anyone there to hit record? Yes, but why I'm there is to solve this problem, because
yes.
the competent people are not really competent because this is
No.
a big AV company.
And that's why
Yeah.
that's what freelancers or contractors are really great for, is problem solving, because there's some bad contractors out there who don't care about solving problems, but I've seen a lot of those, just like bigger companies who like pay hourly. They really don't care that the signal's gone and that it might be a bad cable and that they have to run downstairs to get a new one. Like they'll just sit on that, they'll walk slowly. But contractors, it's like we have equity. We have incentive to make sure that this goes off to the best it possibly can.
Plus, it's our reputation.
Yeah. In that we way over delivered and overperformed, that we saved the day, right? And so, yeah, that's definitely just a random little thought I had. Like,
No, that's very smart. Like I said, I've my opinion. I think we think very alike, and which is why the other thing I was going to ask you. So we had another high level conversation. So we met then. Funny enough, we haven't collaborated. I would love to collaborate with you on a project. But then the next time we spoke, I think it was in a coffee shop. You hit me up. What was going through then? Because I know we were talking about retainer clients and everything. Do you remember any of that talk that we had? I remember it being very high level. That was one of these talks that led to these, where I was like, oh, we should have recorded it, because we were talking about like social media content and retainer clients. It was just very high level. I was like, this is so good.
Yeah. So I do remember 2 of the big moves you were having, and then actually I did try to get you to help out on a job with Cole Hauser.
Oh yeah, I remember
but that didn't pan out. Just the nature of celebrities, working with celebrities. But I remember 2 things we talked about, which was one, we were talking about retainers, but you were talking about like an entirely new business model that you wanted to scale for Orlando. And I was like, dude, that's not going to work.
No, it didn't work. It didn't work. That's okay. By the way, I own my success and I own my failures. That's okay. We tried though. Yeah, that did not work.
That was a monster of an idea. Dude.
No,
it was a monster.
It was a crazy idea. And you know what I found? What killed it? So we gave it full shot. We had actual paying clients, by the way.
Right.
So no, me and I think Emmanuel did it, who's been on the podcast. So anyway, like I said, we went out. We killed it. I talked to you about it. The idea was to make entire month of content, and I mean every single day. Not most people come here and they say, we make a month of content. It's 3 times 12. Like 12 pieces of content, whatever. Three times a week. My idea was every single day there will be something, photo or video, to post for 30 or 31 days in the month, whatever number of days. And we'll do it for like an absolutely crazy price.
Yep.
And, the idea was to get people long-term retainers. And the idea was to build a team. Now, could I do it? No, obviously at my rate, that would not work financially for my company. But I was like, if I can build a team around it, these young creators who are really good at social media content, they're not good at the long-form content that we do. I was like, if I build this right team, the perfect team at the right rates, we can execute. I had the whole business model worked out. However, here's what I didn't picture: that I built years and years Binder Productions to be the Ferrari of video production, right? And so the clients, they were approaching, and I realized all these people that I hired weren't good at sales. They were doing these old school strategies of calling and door knocking. I was like, this is not how you do sales. Anyway, at least to me. And then I was like, my sales are, these boots on the ground, shake hand, networking.
Yeah.
But so when I try to do any sales, I remember having this conversation. Finally, I think what put final nail in the coffin was I talked to one of my clients, and we were having this high level conversation and talked about the program. And I was like, look, for this new program, $1K, we can make you a whole month of social content. And they were like, Whoa, that sounds incredible. We've been thinking about getting a testimonial. What are your rates for those? I was like, well, I don't know. Again,
Yeah.
blanket. I was
Right.
like, we could do a typical one, 4 to 7K roughly.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, let's do it. And I was like, okay, well, let me send you a proposal. Let's make it happen. Then I'm like, I just try to sell them 1K
Yeah.
for 30 pieces of content. They completely,
Yeah.
ran past that.
Yeah.
And here they easily were willing to pay me 4 to 7K for a testimonial, same half day shoot, edit and then done. Because the shoot was half day, right, for the whole month of content. Point I'm trying to make is, I was like, I'm in the wrong space. How much I want this to succeed.
Mm.
For me, that was in the right market because people don't want to give me 1K, they want to give me 7K.
Yeah.
So I finally was like, okay, well, I will take more money. I was trying to offer you a cheaper solution, but I will happily be the higher end, better solution. And that was for me the final thing. Like, look, people don't want to buy cheap things from me. They want to buy higher end stuff, which is fine. I'm happy for it. I was just trying to offer market a lower end product. I think Bindra Productions was the wrong company to do it from, which is my own undoing. I think that's what killed it. But anyway, what was your opinion? I want to know your side of it because clearly you were right. What made you think that? And the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, so it's all about like pipeline. Like you would have had, it's kind of like you said, like Bindra is different. It would have had to been like, monthly media productions, like 30 for 30, right? Or like the company name would have had to been like the product or service. And then you would have had to, right idea, get a bunch of Full Sail grads who can do photo, video, even today, like AI generation, like totally easy to get 30 days of content, right? And then if you have procedures, standard operating procedure for, 5 kids that can do 5 clients each, right? Now you're looking at 25 clients. Okay, now we're bringing in 25K a month, right? And their time is managed pretty efficiently. So yeah, your pipeline's good, but then you need sales to get 25 who are playing 1K. Your sales has to be almost 50% of your strength in your company. So it's like building. I mean, it can be done.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. Obviously I worked out the business model before and the SOPs before
Yep.
I
You did all the
ever
numbers,
reached
yep.
and then I had the numbers. I think sorry, it's been long. You remember?
I think you said 50.
Yeah,
Like, you had to
whatever
be
it
at
was. I had
50.
a number. I was like, yeah, this is the number we reached, then we're good.
Yeah.
We had a minimum number too, which is like if we reach this number is a break even point, and then this number is we're good. And that was my goal to build. I was trying to build passive income. Unfortunately, that didn't work. I have to be active in the business. I've learned my lesson. I will still try for more other things because, we're entrepreneurs. We can't just sit still. But my idea was to finally use this brain to build a video company that worked on its own, and I was just going to hire leaders because I even had a leader.
Yeah.
I had somebody who was going to lead the team. I was going to just build it and then step out. That was the goal with that.
Right.
But like you said, I think in my opinion, the bad move is just the branding because the branding had to go through a separate company.
Yeah.
And it going through Bindra Productions, which I thought would be a help because, we have existing reputation and
quality,
this, but, and clients locally. But I think what it did was harm it because it was like, oh, we want higher end content, which is fine. Like I said, I'm happy to do what I do with Bindra, but that whole thing didn't work. Which is fine. Like I said, I'm so glad I didn't go into the social media space, cheap social media content space.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, you're right.
No, that's a great way to put it. Cheap social media space. Like a lot of performers like working alongside performers, right? So if you hold yourself to a certain standard, you typically hold the people you work with to a certain standard. And so it's really hard to change your like inside, at least for me it is, to be like, okay, I like working with, mid-sized companies, right? Like 100 people, 50, 100 people, 250 people. And I know that these size companies have like a director of comms or a user experience, like executive C-suite or something, right? And then below them, they have some social or they have some marketing or comms, right? And they typically can help manage the relationship or manage the posting of your content and stuff like that. But as you service smaller businesses, right? Like local family owned, they're more of the people who are like posting 5 times, 7 times a week, or 21 times a week, right? 3 times a day. And it's different when you're working with these mid-sized companies and products and services out there who are incredible, that you love, that do incredible things. Um, they are not interested in like your 21 pieces a week. Like they're more interested in bespoke, premium, beautiful, competitive against their competitors, looks incredible, communicates their message well, that they can brag about, that they can tell their clients about. And so they're not really looking like they have sales operations, they have marketing operations, they're out there like spending money everywhere else. They don't, they're not interested in like getting sales or clients through social media. Like they make the 20, 50, $100,000 video, and then they prospect, several $1,000,000 with it, right? Or they sell a new project for millions of dollars for the next 2 years, and then they do another one.
Exactly. So yeah, and that's the space I was in before, and obviously have stayed there since. And did 2024 was a record year for me.
It's awesome.
So, but like I said, that I think it was 23 when I did that, beginning of 23 or mid 23. I think it was as a good lesson, because sometimes the business strategy that you can fully formulate the numbers and everything, and like I said, build SOPs around it, doesn't mean the market is ready for it. You know what I mean? And and the funny thing is, like I said, main thing for me was, look, people are happy to pay me. I'm increasing my revenue. Let me just keep doing what I'm doing great and build upon that. And instead of trying to build this low level product for these low level businesses, or not low level, but people, businesses with that type of budget, because at the end of the day, there's already every year hundreds of graduates coming out of Full Sail and UCF willing to fulfill that market, where
for sure.
they'll take that bottom level jobs. Not that I want them to take higher, make more money. That's the point of this podcast. But either way, like I said, it was a good
those
thing.
New businesses, that's what they're looking for. Those small businesses, they like oftentimes their first, I get this all the time, but like, hey, we're kind of looking for like a hobbyist. A hobbyist who, and it's like, dude, it doesn't really exist. Like, hey, do you know somebody who like has their evenings free that could, do this on the side for a couple of hours? Like, yeah, that's the grads, right? Like that's their market. That's what they have the capacity to do. And the key thing is they do not have like the overhead, the expenses, the risk, the liability that I have, right?
Yeah,
like we have a lot more.
Yeah, to be able to, and then that fits, because like you said, they don't need that fancy equipment. They don't need that experience, because they are very green. But if that's what the business demands, then that's what it is. And like I said, it was fun. The good thing is there was not money invested into it. It was time, right?
Yeah.
And it was my time and Emmanuel's time, and I think we learned quite a bit from it. What I also did love was it strengthened my belief in what I was doing, because ultimately what I wanted to offer was initially why I started the company was to offer people high level production at prices they could afford. Not that I wanted to do cheap production, but I wasn't here trying to do multi-million-dollar Super Bowl commercials either, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I want to bring like you said, that typical my clients. I do have some Fortune 50 companies as my clients, but most of my clients are those mid to small businesses, and I want to offer them better production than they had access to, at least when I started, right? That was the goal in 2018. And to 23 was, in that way, a very good year for me, because I had to look back and be like, my mission is good. It's still working.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to change, because, it's been 5 years. You go, what do I need to do different? Do I need to change my business model and stuff?
Yeah.
And it was good to go, you know what? It's working.
Yeah.
It's working better than ever.
Yeah.
So we need to just double down on what we're good at. And like I said, that's why the revenue increase happened in 2024, and it was totally worth it. But you have to kind of realize that, hey, my initial vision worked because it was good. That's what the market wants, and it still wants it. And like I said, you know me. Now I'm trying new things with the van, right? I'm always trying something different. So we'll see how that goes. What about you? What are you trying to do different this year?
Yeah, so I'm building a 1-ton grip package as well. It's just something that I've wanted to do. We haven't had a super demand, but we had 2 projects last year where we ended up having to use like everything we had, and I was like, dude, we needed more.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what I'm building for.
But do
So
you think it's worth it since it's only 2
yeah,
to get, are you going to be able to get any ROI out of it, or is it worth it just to rent it that 2 times? Because it'd be one thing, if you're like, okay, we 20 times we
right.
needed it, but 2 times is the ROI there. Because a lot of this stuff is hard to get rid of. Like,
Yeah.
good luck getting rid of a triple riser rolling baby stand.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
in Central Florida.
I'm going to
the market is one of one who already has it.
yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah.
No, I'm going to DC tomorrow to pick up 2 triple risers.
Oh, really? See, that's funny. You're going to DC to pick it up. That's
so
crazy.
little tip. Because I'm kind of done spending money for a while, but there's an auction up in DC, an auction house. We have them; they're all around the country, but DC has a lot of broadcast companies that are going out of business and liquidating. And so this is my second auction that I've gone up and basically like pillaged.
Yeah. No, auctions are great. No, especially group gear, because that's one thing I do tell people. Camera and lighting equipment, terrible investments. They will go outdated 6 months a year.
6 months.
Yeah. And then, but audio equipment, especially the microphones themselves, because, recorders, I get it, they still come out. But like microphones, 40 years later, top microphones are still the top microphones. And then grip gear. C-stand is the same C-stand from 30 years
40,
ago.
Yeah.
So you're good. Like if you buy, especially a good brand like Avenger or, not Avenger. American or Matthews. Yeah. Any of the good stuff or modern, does modern make C-stands? I don't even know. But, anyway, any of these top three companies, anything from modern, Matthews, or American, it's going to last you a lifetime. You never have to buy again. It's never going to get old. They're not redesigning them every year. So, like you said, like option, it's probably going to be the same as what you buy brand new. So, that's pretty smart. But how are you're gonna drive it back? Because good luck flying with it.
I'm driving it. Yeah.
That makes more sense. Was it that cheap that it's worth to drive from DC?
Yeah. So like I got my combos. I got 2 triple risers, one for 170 and one for 130.
Okay. That's pretty cheap.
And then I got like a 12x12 butterfly, like a Matthews with diffusion for like 250 or something.
Okay, that's really good. Yeah.
And then I got I just picked up some C-stands for fun, and
that's awesome.
Some other stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just like so you're gonna basically get a decent amount of grip, then it makes sense to drive down. Okay.
For me, I enjoy the drive. Yeah. Like it's fine. It's 12 hours, but like, and it's like if you add my $1,500 day rate, it makes no sense at all. But for me, it's just like I love investing in my capabilities, which you probably do too. It's like, hey, we can fly a 12x12 and an 8x8. We can fly bicolor or RGB. Like it's capabilities. Like you love being able to say, hey, we could do this. We could do this incredible vibe. Like we could throw a snoot on and make a background pop or whatever. And I think I love bringing that to my clients, like saying, hey, here's what else we can do, or have you thought of this? And so, so like one of the weirdest, probably dumbest investments I've made over the last several years is I bought 2, those RE tungsten kits with the silver cases that were like $3,000 each, right?
Yeah, not anymore.
No.
$50 now.
Yeah.
If somebody wants it, I mean,
because
I would love to have one, dude. I work
because it's just a pretty cool little thing.
I know. I would love to just have one, maybe just to put back there. Because dude, I was literally talking. Val I think I had this conversation with on a podcast where it was talking about hot lights. Man, I don't remember the last time. I remember never being able to be on set without gloves.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I put on gloves at a set. It's been that long.
Yeah.
It's crazy how our industry just changed.
Yeah.
And especially for what we do. I still think they use some stuff, M40s or whatever up in Hollywood.
The M18s and all those. Yeah.
They don't like, but for what we do, a corporate and commercial work, there is
100%.
no need for hot lights anymore at all. Like,
except on music videos. Music videos really like
Yeah, but
look.
music
Just like you
videos.
want to prop it up right here.
Yeah, but music videos don't have a budget.
No, right, exactly. So free,
Yeah.
they want it, but we're not making any money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll give you, hey, I've got a deal of a lifetime. Can you shoot my music video? And it's you can edit it too. And you're lucky I'll pay you $300.
Oh my
Yeah, that's the
goodness.
type of
Yeah.
calls music videos
Yeah.
people get. I'm like, I don't know how you survive. I can't wait to have my buddy. I have a friend who's not going to be on this season, but I can't wait to have him on next season because he does high-end music videos. I
Yeah.
want to bring somebody here who actually is from the industry who can come talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, even at the high level, it ain't good. So I
Yeah.
want somebody who's at that level filming
Yeah.
for top artists
Yeah.
can still come tell like music video industry's terrible, like for
Yeah.
money making. You go in there because you love the art.
Yeah.
But most people aren't like making a good living doing music videos, even though they're very fun creatively. Having done a few myself, I'm like, I love it, but then you make no money from it at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's why most of those guys who are kind of still in that Hollywood era or MTV music video patronage era, they figured out how to diversify, and so they not only buy their mini LF, right, or their Red Raptor, but they rent it. It sits at a rental house when it's not working. They own a studio space that they lease out to small time creators throughout the month. They sell stock footage, right? They have literally a library of like 10,000 clips on stock. There's just like those guys, they got incredibly creative with multiple streams of income, and that's why they still are fighting to this day, right?
But you had to do that, right? Because that was the only way to make a killer living. Because before, 10, 15 years ago, corporate video wasn't even a thing.
No.
Right?
It is only 5 years.
Yeah, even then.
I mean,
yeah.
10 years ago, yeah, but
maybe
5 years. I would say.
Before then, it's like your choices were those limited, and then the Hollywood track is even more crazy because you have to go through so much political nonsense and all that. I mean, they have an advantage. You have union, you've set rates if you join one, so you're not worried about rates and stuff. They're already kind of decided for you, at least below the line.
Yeah,
but again, there's too much political nonsense in Hollywood that you have to go through. But this is new avenue, and that's why I'm like, I want listeners to know you can make a killer living. You're a prime example of that, building a company, pulling in over $300K of revenue, and with that, and that's with 6 months of content. I can't wait for your hopefully 2025 to be fully booked, and that'll be double minimum. Yeah. Right, and that's crazy to think about that you can pull that type of numbers doing video, which is a creative endeavor. But you can make money from it.
Yeah,
as long as you are smart and you offer the right solutions.
Yeah. Well, what I've found out is that $250,000 a year is with inflation is the new $40K.
Yeah, that is true. I still remember, dude. Oh, you don't talk about 100. Okay, so I came to America 2010. I would say my first video experience at Real would be 2012, where I was trying to do freelance video while I worked at Disney.
Wow,
so
that's awesome.
That's what I'm saying. So this is me, young, because when you go, I'm gonna change the world. Anyway,
I would love to see a picture of.
Oh, you don't want to see? I look so skinny. Anyway, but the point is, so I'm working at Disney. Which I finally had a good job at that point. When you start, terrible pay.
Right.
But at least I had a good job at Disney that was paying my bills. I did video on the side. Point is, I was like dreaming. I was like, one day, if I could just make 6 figures, dude, the homes were so cheap.
100K.
I was like, if I can make, and that's why I want to break this barrier. So many people get so hyped up about 6 figures.
Yeah.
It's nothing nowadays.
No, it's
with
nothing.
Inflation. Because I was like, if I could only make 100K, my life would be set, dude. Right now, 100K.
But also like
you said, it's like the new 10K.
But yeah, in revenue, right?
Yeah,
like revenue's like
different than profit, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, like profit. I don't know what I
no,
think
but inflation's crazy. But tell me if that's true. I remember going to Walmart. Like this, it's so vivid in my brain. Going to Walmart, which was stupid. I was a young single guy. You first time ever being on my own. And you know what I bought? I did the right thing. Your parents go to we have to buy eggs, milk, bread.
Yeah.
So I'm Walmart.
Pop-Tarts.
No. I didn't know about Pop-Tarts then. Remember, I'm new to America. I am in Walmart with my cart, buying milk, eggs, and bread, shit that I was never gonna eat. But I didn't know that then. I'm just going what people buy groceries. So I'm just literally like, and that's too. I was just first time on my own. I'm just like, oh, this is what people buy, so I gotta put some eggs, milk. Then I go, I don't fucking drink milk. Why am I? Anyway, but that realization came later. Point is, but that whole cart, like I'm talking cart full of shit, was $20 or something. And this is not that long ago. This is like 2010. I'm talking. And now, good luck. I go to Walmart, I buy 2 things, it's over $100. So anyway, inflation's crazy. Point is, 6 figures don't mean anything. 100K is nothing nowadays, at least in Central Florida. It may still matter if you're in a smaller tier 2, tier 3 town, and that you can have a good life where, your rent isn't that high. But out here, 100K, very hard to survive or at least have a good life.
Any metro area DC, New York, or Los Angeles, or anything coastal for that matter in California, anything within 40 minutes of the coastline, 100K is honestly
it won't last you too long.
It's not livable,
and it's
crazy.
The inflation's crazy, so you got to shoot higher. But the point is, you can go charge clients easily. If you're trying to be a DP, which is harder, I think, because there's a sea of DPs. But as long as you're good, you can go charge $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 day rates. And then if you're a production company, there's nothing stopping you from going and trying to sell 5, 10K videos. And there's so many companies that will happily pay for it as long as you have the right solution, right? The offer matters, I think.
Yeah, I think something that, we're in the era of communications where it's changing from, it used to only be high-level production where you needed 10 jobs on set. And now you have companies that are requesting UGC level, iPhone or action camera, quality of content, and with DJI mics, right, and just lapels and magnets and stuff. And so, and so I have a lot of DPs getting discouraged. I see a lot of DPs that are like, dude, where's the work going? People aren't pricing me in anymore. Even my DPs, I hate the landscape. All my buddies who are in shows or TV or what broadcasts or whatever, they are it's really glim, right? And
I think that's why you gotta evolve, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to change with the market. You're absolutely right. Here's what I've noticed the trend in the industry. In 2010, I could have still charged a $1,500 day rate. I could have brought a camera and shot the video, given them, and they would have had to have a sound guide, a gaffer, a grip, whatever, right? It wasn't. Now they'll happily give me the same 1,500, but now I have to do sound, lighting, stands, grip, everything. And guess what? That 1,500 doesn't mean as much as it did back in the. So the rates aren't really going down, but the value of that money is barely anything. And now you're expected to do 10x the work than you were back in the day, and which also means it's hard to survive. And especially if you were somebody like in the traditional media, who was making those day rates, now goes, what? I gotta learn, because if you're not flexible, you're like, I don't want to learn sound, I don't want to learn lighting or whatever, and then you go. You don't want to be that dinosaur either, which is hard. I get it, but it's like you have to change with the environment, because that's just how it's changing. Yeah.
The realization, it's happening every year, is technology and software is removing jobs from Earth.
Yeah.
Jobs are being removed every year. So don't think my DP job was great this year. It won't be removed in the future. No, trust me.
You don't know what the future could bring, and that's why you need to widen your skill set. You need to better your network and better your reach. Because the truth is, everyone calls themselves a DP, at least in this town where we produce hundreds of graduates every day, every year. Sorry. And so you have to basically stand out, and you have to be good at your craft. Because guess what? Anytime I'm trying to hire, and tell me if you notice this, when you actually start to look at these people, you go, it's hollow. It's like they don't know, they don't have the skills or the knowledge.
It's like they're being educated in college on the old landscape.
That doesn't work.
It's in the landscape today is changing like monthly.
Yeah.
Right.
Funny enough, in the group, I'll sometimes post, I'm like, hey, I need somebody for this job. And I'll get 10 replies or whatever in my DMs. And I'm like, perfect. A lot of options. You choose from. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for this. Do you have any experience, relevant experience? No, I've never been on a video set before. Okay, so done. Well, I mean, I don't mind teaching people, but like this is a paid job. I can't bring you as a DP. Maybe a BTS guy or whatever, not DP.
Right.
Anyway.
Or come for free.
Yeah, exactly.
You can come for free.
Yeah, exactly. As long as, we can vet you and they're not going to.
That's still us teaching you, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But then you go to the next one and then it's like, oh yeah, I've been on Video Guy for years. And then you go to I was like, okay, that's great. I see content on your page. Have you lit any scene ever? No, I don't work with lighting.
I don't do that.
I'm like, you're not a DP then. You're a camera operator. Skip. You know what I mean? Like this. So it becomes like a process. And I'm like, and you're in a group with high level video people. This is that group. I can't imagine the people who are not in a group learning from other film, what they're going through. Because it's like, you have to also work on your craft. You didn't get there because you just got out of your seat and said, I'm going to be a video guy. You perfected your craft. You made hundreds of videos. And then, you try to build your company and you found success. So what I'm saying is people are also trying to find shortcut to your craft. The only shortcut there is, and tell me if I'm wrong, is you can hire somebody who has good craft. They can come to you and be like, hey, I've got a good project. Jacob, will you please DP for me? I'll give you your rate. And then now you can go charge the client $10K. You give Jacob $1,500. You go pay an editor $1,500. You can make $7K. That I see is doable without having a skill. But if you don't have the skill, I don't know otherwise how else you can go make the content.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't look at video production like a lot of these other agency owners out there who are like, there's social media management agencies, SMMA, or there's lead gen, right? Or video sales letters, VSLs, right? And there's people out there who are making like millions, tens of millions of dollars, $25 million a year on kind of this arbitrage of like ads and profit sharing, right? But that's not like video production. And we work in video production because we freaking love it. Like we love being able to bring things to life, to communicate on behalf of clients, be an integral part of their communication, their story, pivotal, feel useful, feel appreciated, and at the day make a livable wage. And so that's why we do it. But don't think for a second that like you're gonna come in here and like make a lot of money, because you're in the wrong industry, in my opinion. And if you're like, oh, I want to get in video production, but I'm just going to hire people around me to do everything, I think it's not built for longevity, because you then can't vet, right? Like you vetted your DPs and your grips and gaffers and stuff. Like if a guy's like, yeah, you set up your sheet stand like this and aim it this way and like throw a sandbag on top, like you're going to be like, yeah, man, looks good to me, right? Like if you haven't done it before, don't know. So like in video production, I think you have to be dangerous at least in like one or two things. Like you have to be incredibly dangerous. Like you have to be that person who has set up 1,000 C stands or set up 1,000 lights or, to kind of go out and then hire and like, hey, hire editing. Hey, hire for this. Yeah.
I kind of agree with most things, but slightly different. I do think you can learn by hiring competitive people. Yes. That is going to be the hardest thing, is to vet, who to hire. Because again, 100 people, when you say, okay, I don't know how to be a DP, or I'm not a good DP, let me go hire a DP. But then now you find 500 options. You have to be able to pick the right option. But if you're smart enough, I do think, and you put together a good crew, and obviously that doesn't displace learning. You still have to learn. Then you can on your set learn. Because to me, I make the most money when I touch no equipment. I make my most money when I interact with the client and I solve their business problem, right?
Yeah.
I have an offer, I go to them and I say, look, let's talk. And then you figure out their problem and then you give them an offer, right? Whatever the package is, right? Hey, here's the deliverables, whatever. And they buy. And then I go on set. I bring people with me, not because I can't be a gaffer. I can't be a DP. I can do all of those things. But I want to focus on making sure that offer is met. And then they go tell their friends and they hire me. So, you're absolutely right. What makes me killer is because I can vet all the people that I'm going to bring with me.
Mhm.
Plus, I trust them. They're going to make me look good, and hopefully, I can pay them the rates that they expect to get paid. But yeah, if you can't vet them, as long as you be smart and you actually bring in people who are kind of good, and then pay attention around you, obviously solve the client's problem. But if you look around you and see, okay, so I know this is a good DP, what are they doing? This is a good assistant, what are they doing? And then obviously it doesn't mean do that all the time. You can then go to the same people, be like, hey, thank you for coming out. Here's your pay. Next time on your set, I would love to come, be your PA and learn. What I'm
Mhm.
saying is you can do it. I don't think you can do it without having any skills as long
Oh yeah.
as you are smart about it. But there's no replacement for business skills.
No.
If you cannot go talk to a client and solve their problem, I don't think they can find any success.
Well,
I
like
mean, it's going to be very hard or otherwise.
I think I was more thinking about the post production side, right?
Yeah.
Because, like for instance, VFX,
Yeah, you
right?
can't do that.
It's like
Without
if
learning.
you don't know VFX, but like we
Yeah.
charge for VFX and
Mhm.
motion graphics, right? But if you're not dangerous, like your editor could be taking 40 hours a week to produce something that you are like you don't know takes
Yeah.
2 hours to do something.
Exactly. No,
And then
editors are the bane of why our companies exist, because finding good editors
yeah.
is a pain. But once you do keep them, because like you said, that's why I don't like charging hourly. So tell me, so the way this is what I figured out with editors, that I'd rather just give them per project for same reason. Because I don't like, even though, yes, to my clients, we bill them by the hour sometimes. So the way I'll do it is initial project. I'm just giving you an example project that I would sell to a client. 15K is the better option, good, better, best pricing. They take that. They get 4 deliverables. Perfect. We film the deliverables, they get the deliverables, edit prices included. But then when we go to either go do something back or whatever, like they're like, oh, we want extra revisions or something. Then I'll bill them by the hour. I'll say, okay, it's going to take us 10 hours. So
Mhm.
75 or 150 times whatever. That's your price. But then to my editors, I don't do that. Personally, I'd rather go to my editors and I'd be like, okay, so what it's going to take? Can you do it? What's the price? Okay. Or sometimes if the initial one where I would have just given them a price. Here's the price. Edit these. Because then I'm like, I don't care if they edit in 5 hours or they edit in 50 hours. Because like you said,
Right.
you can be very easily taken advantage of where somebody goes, oh yeah, I spent 40 hours on this. Now you have no way to know.
Yeah.
Unless, at least for you, if you have somebody you could put in an office, you know what they worked on. But most of my editors work from
Remote,
their home,
right.
they're remote. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put a camera. That's too much. Then at that
No.
point, you're not the type of person I want to work with anyway. So you're absolutely right. You got to be very careful with VFX people, with the editors, and you need to understand their work a little bit,
Yeah.
right? To know whatever time it should take when you're selecting people to hire. No, you're very smart. And I wasn't even thinking that side. You're absolutely right. So at least that's how I've tried to do it. I just do flat rate based on what needs to be done. That way, I know that I won't be taken advantage of, because I don't care if you take 50 hours. I want it done, and you agreed to it. Like I
Yeah.
make sure I get their buy-in before
Right.
we commit
Yeah.
to it. And I
Yep.
find it at least it kind of works, especially with remote people, because and if they can do it faster, then they can do it faster. That's on
Yeah.
them. That's good for them. Yeah.
So it's definitely something, like you said, it's the bane of our existence, figuring it out. There's software tools out there, but they're not really great at storytelling.
Mhm.
Like you have Autopod, which will cut a podcast really quick, but then you still have to watch the whole thing over, look at all the mess ups that it made, correct them, watch it over again, revise it. So there are things out there that kind of speed up the workflow of editing. As you create SOPs for products, right? Like, oh, we do reels. Then you can offer a competitive product on that, and then you can charge hourly for that. And so our editors, we have 2 full-time editors, and what works best for them is me presenting cost-effective retainers to my clients. And so it's a value proposition. I know how long it takes to get through a certain product.
Mhm.
But then we have bespoke, right? Where it's a headache to get into. Like you have to manage the footage, like you have to go in, you have to organize it, you have to create the project, you have to upload it to the cloud for redundancy. Then you got to get a version on Frame.io. Then you got to, render it out rough. Then and all clients have different like wants and needs. And then it has to be reviewed by their certain executive
Yeah.
team and stuff.
And 500 people have 100 different opinions on it.
So editing is when it's bespoke like that. What worked for me for 2 years was a $750 day rate.
Mhm.
I got one of my buddies.
That's a pretty good rate, by the way, for an editor. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great rate, but that was just what I priced at because I knew that we were spending a lot of money in pre-production and in post-production, not editing, focusing on other things to get ready. It's the
Mhm.
same thing with the freelancer rate, like $1,500, but then we have we have to communicate, have a meeting, call sheet, hour-long meeting here, and then we have to go, deliver the footage this day. Like it's a lot of stuff that doesn't go into the sort of day rate. But with editing, the 750, what it allowed me to do was kind of put a little bit of fluff in there for all of those things that would come up and bite me in the butt. And even with my editors, like just giving them a little bit of extra space for delivery, like even if I bid it as like a 5-day editing project, but then it took us 2 weeks, it's like, okay, well, I as a business owner lost money, but my client's still happy. So I'm really glad and so,
And
yeah.
is that what you were talking about earlier, trying to figure out how to price things where that doesn't happen? Because at the end of the day, you're a business, you don't want to lose money. So is that what your goal is, to figure out, or have you already, because I know you kind of said that, figured out how to price it where, that won't happen?
So, yeah. So I think the big shift this year was we are doing a lot of LinkedIn short form and then repurposing that for YouTube, short form and long term or long form, and just all organic, no paid media, all unpaid. And so based on those 3 products right there, we have streamlined SOPs, and then we are offering retainers that are built around those. So the filming is super straightforward. It's like we come in once a quarter or once a month. We generate several hours of footage, some of it scripted, some of it not scripted, and then we come home and we have our library that we can basically deliver for the next 3 months. And so,
And what are you pricing these retainers at?
so they're totally separate products, right? So YouTube is not LinkedIn. So YouTube, it's like,
So your client has to pick which platform, or
yeah,
do they? Okay.
yeah,
So let's do LinkedIn, because I think that's far more valuable for clients.
yeah.
So what are you roughly aiming the retainer at, and what's the payment frequency?
Yeah, so we just upped our prices this year. I think we were doing $2K for 5 to 7 reels last year. This year we're at like 2,500 for 5 reels, and then we have a long form video, 2 to 3 minutes in length, that is like 3,750. And then
So that's on top of the 2,500.
yeah, it's a totally separate product.
So 3,750 if they want a long
Just
form
a 2
video,
to 3 minute long,
and then
5 reels.
2,500.
They can go to 10 reels. They can go to 50 reels.
Yeah, so it's easy
but
for them to multiply.
Easy math. Yeah.
And then what's the frequency? So do you just offer them to pick the frequency, or do you just have a standard, like, oh, it's 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever retainer, or you're letting them pick, like, oh, we'll try it one time, or oh, let's sign up for 3 months or whatever. How are you?
Yeah. So I let clients build trust in us and the product with a 3-month recommendation. There's no point in us doing a 1 month or a 2 month. Like, it's just doing a la carte. Like, hire us to do your production, we'll give you deliverable.
Yeah.
And I'll charge you more for that. But if you want to partner with us so that we can learn your brand, learn your corporate culture, your people, spend time with them, jump on calls with them, invest that time getting to know you, right, in your language, and then acclimate our client content for the next 3 months, then we're more positioned to bring you success. And so minimum for sure is 3-month engagement. And then once that 3 month is up, it should be a 6 or a 9 month or a year. But 6 or 9 month is good because, they work in quarters. and
Makes it easy
they
for them.
evaluate the
Yeah.
budget at the end of the year and stuff. So 6 to 9, yeah, exactly, makes it easier for them at the end of the year.
And how are you doing billing? Are you doing all 3 months? So let's say they start it, they love it, which I think it's good pricing, $7,500. Do you charge 25 per month, or are you gonna take 7,500 all up front? Like, how are you doing your payment structure?
Yeah, so we typically it's funny. I still invoice via Canva. I am
Hmm.
like so frugal.
Oh
What
wow,
I
that's like
I have
hold on. That right there, if nobody got, is like a huge like what? Okay,
Yeah.
please speak. Tell me
So
more.
I spent my first year of business messing with Proposify and proposals
Uh-huh.
on there. And then I actually pay for like premium QuickBooks and like all the
Yeah.
services, and it's everything is so integrated. But I only have like 2 clients that I invoice through QuickBooks because they just want to pay with the credit card.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody else I actually just send them my bank information with a Canva sort of invoice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they just wire transfer you the money?
Yeah.
I mean, wire transfer is fine. Bunch of my clients, especially when you get to that high range, they have to wire transfer you the money. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you're making your invoices in Canva, so it's a manual process.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Why aren't you using
Yeah.
QuickBook invoices? Because they don't have to pay through credit card.
Yeah, yeah.
You-
No, I think I do want to pivot over to QuickBooks. I've been looking at it. I think the biggest thing is like the pain points for me weren't worth it, but I think it's something that I want to do more of. Like I paid all my expenses and everything was through QuickBooks this year. So all my contractors, right? Like all my 1099s, excuse me, my W-2s, everything was
Mhm.
through QuickBooks, their payroll. And
Yeah.
so I paid a premium for that all year long.
Yeah.
It's like, why wouldn't I just invoice through QuickBooks as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, but that's hey, what's working is working. So that's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Also, just to make sure all your employees are technically W-9s, right? None of them are
Yeah.
W-2 anymore.
Yeah.
So you're just okay. So then, yeah, okay, I get it. So you're invoicing them through QuickBooks. It works. But for your clients, a lot of them you're just manually doing it, and they'll wire transfer you the money, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, less cost of business. Trust me, the worst thing.
The biggest pain point is sending them an invoice every month and then following up. Most of
Yeah.
my clients are really great and we haven't had any issues. Like I've seen a lot of horror stories
Mhm.
online, but I have so much trust and reputation built up with a lot of my industry and niche.
Mhm.
And so I've, knock on wood, I've never had any issues with
That's
an
good. So
unpaid invoice.
so just so I get it. So you're charging them, which that invoice thing was amazing, by the way. Are you planning to switch to all QuickBooks or other type of invoice system, or you're just gonna stick to Canva just because it works? Which there's nothing wrong with that. If it works, it works type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, we had other clients like request Bill, or was it
Bill.com.
Bill.com?
Yeah, I've had to do that.
Yeah. And then so the other crazy thing is like we've been building a relationship with like a Fortune 10 company
Mhm.
for like the last
Look at that.
2 years, and it's been a 2-year onboarding process.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they've been vetting your company for 2 years?
2
Is that what it
years.
is? Wow.
2 years we talked about doing
That's gonna
business
be
with
huge
them.
business. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we've literally to go through their onboarding process to get approved as a vendor, and then like it's insane. Like they have like a brand university where
Mhm.
like all of their assets and their like every font, if it's this type of video, it has to be this color. If it's this type, you have to use this mascot.
Mhm.
Like all kinds of like insane branding rules. And they have their own invoicing payment process that you have to sign up for. You have to
Yeah.
get vetted, your bank accounts, your your tax statements for the last 2 years, all kinds of stuff. It's like unique to that
Mhm.
client. Like I have to go through an entire system
Yeah,
for that
just
one
to.
client.
But I mean, if there's enough business, it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it is.
Well, it could be like it's one of those things where like it could be your only client that
Yeah.
you
Then,
serve.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So I'm happy for you on that. So coming back to, so are you gonna charge them all 7,500 in one invoice, or you do give them the option to pay you every month, even though it's a 3-month commitment? Are they paying you 25, 25, 25, or are they paying you 75? How are you
Yeah.
trying to get that payment?
So we typically, I typically invoice like production services with editing in one bill. And then on retainer, it'll if we're not shooting that month, it'll just be like editing deliverables in one. So
Mhm.
if it's a highlight video, it'll have its 3750. If it's the 5 reels or short form videos,
Mhm.
it'll, for LinkedIn, it'll be the
Mhm.
2500. And then at the end of it, it'll just be that total,
Yeah.
checkout.
Check out. Okay. Awesome. And then I love that. So that's the 3750. That's our typical long form video, right? What A roll, like interview, B roll, type of stuff, or is there something uh, different in there that you would include?
No, I mean, we've kind of, if you look at our portfolio, it's just like our bread and butter. We typically have people come to us or like, hey, we want a testimonial video. We don't know
Mhm.
what it's going to look like. We don't, and that's just our easy way of being like, okay, it's going to be 3750, and
Makes
we'll
sense.
just come and we'll do it this way. We'll execute it like this. We have a couple of clients who are like, okay, we need 3 of those,
Mhm.
and then they come to us
That
and
makes it easy for you to invoice them 2 times 3. There you go. There's
yeah,
an invoice. So simple. Um, and I love this conversation, by the way. Not only am I learning, but I think people need to. The whole point of this is what to charge, what to
yeah,
offer,
for
right?
sure.
And makes it so easy. And like I said, these are the type of information that people who are in the industry need to learn from people who are in the industry doing it, and actually doing it, in a killer way.
Yeah.
So the other thing I want to know is what equipment you're using, because people would be curious now. So you charge them 3750. You're gonna make them a video, right? And let's say, okay, we're making a hypothetical client here. I signed up for your services. I want 2 3750 style videos, and I want 5 reels. That's the package.
Mhm.
So what equipment do you show up with? What cameras, lighting? Because
Yeah.
it's a simple content. It's not like high end. What are you using for those typical type of jobs?
Yeah. So a lot of it depends on travel, right?
Let's say it's local,
If we're
Orlando.
local,
Yeah.
right? So if we're local, we're showing up with 2 matching like Sony Alpha or FX cameras, um, and honestly, that's to protect us because we want redundancy. Like
Yeah.
we can deliver one video and make it look super amazing, fire, but
It's good to
um,
have A and B angles
yeah,
anyway, just as
yeah,
is it like you said, good option to cut to. So what's your FX? What FX3? Is that what you own?
three,
Is that
yeah, we'll perform on the threes.
how many cameras do you own right now, or do you rent them?
So we have. So we have 5 Sonys. We have 5 Sonys, and then we have uh 2 Canons.
That's crazy. 7 cameras.
Yeah, so we do with a lot of the Canons that we it's a photography
Yeah.
focused deliverables, like, or we'll do a lot of our time lapse as well.
hmm
So we love
Which
take
cannons are those?
EOS R6, the EOS R, uh yeah, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many cameras we
That's okay.
have. Um yeah, but
Yeah,
it,
some Canon mirrorless. What about Sony? Are they all mirrorless? You got any FX6 9s or
yeah, so
anything like that?
we love I love the FX3.
Oh yeah, that's like I think the favorite camera so far. People
It's
have been
just
on here.
it's you look at it and you're like, yeah, this is gonna suck. And then you like pull the results and you're like, this is nuts. It's just ridiculous every single time.
Yeah.
So I love the FX3s. We actually still work on the A7S3 a lot. We work I brought the A7 IV today, shooting a vlog on that because it's photo, video, like packs a punch.
hmm
And I never expected that. I bought it because I was like, oh, I just want like a decent full frame sensor. But it's like over delivered for like the last 2 years. So
That's crazy.
yeah, it's ridiculous. Sony's amazing. I'm waiting for the new whatever Mark II they're coming out with on the FX line. Hopefully at NAB this year. I'll probably pick up 2 matching sensors, whatever it
hmm
is.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And then any lighting preferences? What do you use or own for stuff like that?
So lighting, so I have 12 different RE tungsten lights.
Ooh, you're still on tungsten. You have gloves? What gloves are you wearing?
We have
No, you need
screens
gloves.
and all that crap that people don't
Oh
need
wow. So
to.
you're old school still, which is I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong. Here's what I'll tell you. LED lights are still just chasing the quality of the tungstens. So
Yeah.
quality was never an issue. It was just the heat and the
Yes.
the the extra,
Which is
crap.
more than enough to
Yeah.
jump onto LEDs.
Yeah. So you are still on RE tungsten. Do you have any
No.
LEDs?
So I just have those because I love
you have them. I
Yeah.
was like,
So like I love for those like music videos and stuff. I love blasting
Yeah.
like a 2K or 1K through the window because it's
No,
just
yeah.
beautiful looking light.
exactly. But for this type of corporate,
no, for these,
3750,
yeah.
what are you bringing?
We're using like 600D, 600C, all a lot of aperture ecosystem. I used to play in the nanlite system before that, Godox, and then I was just like, yeah, aperture is where I want to be. So we're 120D,
So you'll just do it like a
600s.
dome with some kind of aperture light.
Yeah,
Pretty standard stuff. So any mic of choice? What mic are you planting on people?
So the Rhodes have, they're worth their weight in gold. We love
The
Rode.
wireless stuff. Oh yeah.
We love that ecosystem.
And then what about? Do you do a boom for those type of ones or
Yeah.
no? Because they're 3750. maybe
Sennheiser
not.
600, 416.
Look at that.
Those,
So people know exactly how to replicate the poor bear
Yeah.
stories look.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not that easy, but that's my idea. I want people to know exactly what gear professionals are using, what rates they're charging, because I feel like a lot of people don't know. Like when I started, believe it or not, after being a freelancer for years, I was like, I don't know what to charge. You know what I mean? And then I would talk to people. I was like, they would be like, "Oh, you can't charge people $1,000." And I'm like, but that doesn't seem, because I've always been that entrepreneurial mindset. I'm doing calculations, and I'm like,
yeah.
that makes no sense.
I will go out of business if I do not charge this.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I will be able to buy next year's camera if I charge this, and I won't be able to buy next year's camera if I charge that.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And then I'm like, so people need to be able to understand also the cost that you don't realize when you're starting. Like you said, QuickBooks costs freaking money.
oh my gosh.
I have better proposal software that costs money, and hundreds of other freaking subscription sites that cost
Frame.io,
money. Yeah, it's
Slack.
like also VTransfer. I mean, the amount of websites that cost money, and once you start to add, and you don't
Licensing
think that,
music, which has been
yeah.
in the last 3 years, they love charging $500 to $1,000 a year
crazy.
now. So.
What service are you? Licked or whatever? Is that what you're using?
So
or?
we use like a lot. We use like Artlist. We use like Pond 5. Like I don't know. I think we have like 7 different like music subscriptions.
You end up with so many. We're just editing a project right now that's just stock footage, which is great.
Yeah.
In a way, I like that we can make money without having to even go shooting.
Yeah.
But then it's been a problem because like, there's so many websites to pull freaking content from. So when we give the final deliverable to clients, like, where did all the rows? Because that's also matters, knowing for licensing where all the footage came from.
Right.
So it's like a hard thing to keep track of. Anything else? I can't believe it's already been freaking 2 hours.
Ridiculous.
Man. And I have so many things I haven't even barely touched with you yet. But before we go, I want to know more. Any business strategies? Any SOPs? Anything you want to talk to the audience about and share that you felt like was even though the word is overused again, game changer.
Yeah.
For you, because like I said, I think, and this is my opinion, I think you've leveled up more than most people in the industry, and so you have that knowledge to level up.
Yeah.
So how can people level up? Anything you can share with people?
Yeah. So one thing I said and one thing you said. So definitely niche, right? Like niche down, figure it out. Like it should be the thing that makes you happy, that gives you energy when you're there. The people that you're shooting or creating content for should give you energy, right? You should go home at the end of the day not wanting to like just conk out. Like you should be like, that was incredible. I love what I do. So find that niche in your life and pursue that. Do free content for that. I fully support that, right? Like once you know what makes you happy creating for it, like do as much free stuff as they will let you do until you have a portfolio, until people are like, hey, like, I need to pay for your time. Hey, I want to block off this time, right? And so that's like the number one thing that transformed my business. And then I think the second thing, I lost it.
Happens. You get so passionate about the first one, which is what I'm like. If you do every day what you love and it no longer feels like work. Now remember, you're going to do it 4x the number of hours, but it's no longer work because you're just so happy.
I know what I was going to say.
Perfect.
Invest in yourself, educate yourself, right? So I didn't have 6 months of like premium businesses here, but during those months, I figured out how to go out and get my SBA cert, right? Like certified as a small business, which takes a lot of time and a lot of paperwork and stuff, right? But that unlocks a new door for you. I registered in my, for federal contracts, right? Like you have city, state contracts available. And so you have to jump through a lot of hoops to do that. So like I spent an entire month like registering for these platforms, proving I'm a real person, submitting like really sensitive documents about my personal life, my taxes, my home, my assets, all this stuff. But like it takes so much time. And so I took that time to invest in. And so I could have been pursuing a master's or an editing course. But for this season, for me, it was like I'm going to
No, and that's so valuable because now you can access DoD contracts, man. That's just, people, you have no idea how much money there is.
It's a massive headache. If you don't want to be in it, I don't recommend jumping into it.
Yeah, but once you do, like if you want to make money, man, like I'm telling you, even small, like I work with state-owned university or just state in general, like tourism departments, whatever, anything, the money is there and they're willing to pay for it and the check's always clear. But like you said, there is always loopholes. There's always hurdles. And I think next time when I bring you, I would love to talk that whole journey. Plus you would have been through this year of, all this that you're going through. I would love to know the results. But here's one thing I do want to talk about before you go. And I know you have a flight to catch, but please tell us, how do you find your clients?
Yeah. So my clients, I did 10 years of working in a nonprofit, right, for around military families. And I built up a lot of connections and that gave me a certain amount of reputation when I started my business and I had a service to offer people. For some people, you got to start in weddings. But for me, I find a lot of my clients in my reputation. People are like, oh, this is his story, this is what he's done, and this is what he's now offering. So it's easier for them to sell my story to other people. And so I get referrals like that all the time where people are like, hey, I saw you at this event. Hey, I saw you at this fundraiser. Hey, I saw you working for this nonprofit and I shot your contact over to so-and-so. And word of mouth on set, being on set with people. I get 2 referrals, 3 referrals on some of my sets, working with their partners, their executive team. You get exposure like that when you're doing an incredible job on set, delivering an awesome product, right? And then, and then giving my time, like my time is free. Like I'm not one of those like a-holes who's like, oh, I'll charge you $500 an hour. Like my time's free. I can give a lot of my time when I don't have money to give. And so when I find a powerful cause or a powerful mission or an incredible service that I know is going to be really powerful, right? Like a powerful product, I make calculated risk and I say, hey, I want to come on and consult. I don't care if it's 1 year or 2 years, but I believe in your product, service, or mission. And so I have like 3 or 4 of those where I've been consulting them as like a video production media content creator, right? Consultant. And then they, in that 2-year span, have hired us to do 50, 100, $1,000 in business.
And this is why you don't need an MBA. You just need a Jacob of your own. So I would highly recommend reaching out to him or other people in the area. I just do want to people, I don't know who's listening. I'm hoping it's people like us. But the other thing I don't want people to go is obsess somewhere like you have to talk to one of us or anyone else who's been on this podcast. Just find people. Obviously, if you're local, we're happy to meet you. But find just people around you who are doing what you want to be doing already. Go ask them for coffee. Go hang out on their sets, because I think you've said this ending is. I love what everything you just said now about finding clients. Is all about just meeting people, being more on set. If you don't have clients, it's because you're not on set.
Yeah.
Just go on set, be available, meet the people around you who are already on those high level sets. Go there, build your skill level until you can have those higher positions. And I think if you do just good work, if you're a nice person to hang out with, finding clients, not that hard. Because at the end of the day, if you believe in something and you genuinely try to help them, they want you to be part of it. And
Yeah,
people
for sure.
and organizations are happy to pay you for it, right?
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
This has been an incredible talk, sir. Before we go, do you want to share people your, I don't know, Instagram, website, whatever? I
Yeah.
mean,
So Poor Bear Stories, POORBEARSTORIES .com. We also have socials. Personally on LinkedIn, Jacob Centeno, Facebook, Instagram. You can connect with me and follow me on YouTube. We have the business and the personal. So I'm super happy to, if you're thinking about getting in the contractor defense space, you want to learn a little bit more about that stuff. It's super complicated to navigate, but if anybody's interested, I'm happy to chat with you guys. DM me.
awesome. Perfect. Yes. Please reach out to Jacob if you have any questions. But here's what I'd like I said, I'm pretty sure hopefully we find an audience. And if we do, I'd love to do a season 2 where we can be more chilled on a couch or whatever,
Yeah.
relax more. And I would love to bring you back, and I would love to hear back your story with this whole process. And, so everyone can learn about this process and, find success. So thank you again. Thank you for taking time. And I wish you a safe flight, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Bindra. I'll be back.
Anytime.